What's up, guys? So for those of you who were looking for me yesterday, my apologies. I dropped my car off at the shop yesterday morning to have it inspected because I've been riding dirty. But it took them all day. Didn't get my car back to the end of the day. And so, yeah, that's why I didn't post a video yesterday. But anywho, here I am today. Thank you for checking in. Basically today I'm just going to talk about finances and budgeting in a relationship. One of the things that I always highly recommend to people who are about to get married, if they ask, is that they go to premarital counseling. The reason why I recommend that is because when my husband and I went to premarital counseling, it forced us to open up and talk about some things that we had not considered or discussed previously. One of those things being money, or the financial piece of the relationship. So I'll say about 90 to 95% of what Pastor Nate talked about in premarital counseling, I was all for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, that's cool. But when I tell you, when he said joint accounts, that married couples need to have joint accounts and pool all their money together because they're one and this and that, I completely checked out at that point, because I've always felt that I was a pretty financially responsible person. I always had my stuff together. I had good credit and all of that. But the idea of mingling my money, my hard-earned money, in with someone else's where I can't tell what's mine and what's his, yeah, I wasn't feeling that. But I mean, eventually, I gave into it and we do it. We have a joint account and we have separate checking accounts for our own personal use. But most of our money goes into our joint account, which goes towards things in the household. But I just wanted to share a couple of tips, particularly my favorite way of managing money and splitting bills and things like that, in hopes that maybe it'll help someone else who may be having the same discussion. So I never recommend splitting bills down the middle 50-50 unless both people in the household make the same exact amount of money. Because if you don't, one person is going to be left hanging. One person's going to be left hanging high and dry. They're going to be broke, and the other person going to be balling, and it's going to create some tension and friction in the household and the relationship. For instance, if you're in a relationship and one of you makes $2,000 a month, the other makes $6,000 a month, and let's say your bills are $3,700 a month. If you're using the 50-50 split everything down the middle method, that person making $2,000 is getting beat over the head. All right, they're paying $1,850 if my calculations are correct. They're paying $1,850, so they only got a couple dollars left after the bills are paid. Meanwhile, the person that's making $6,000, they good. They balling out of control. So that's why I don't really like the 50-50 method. My preferred method is the paying in proportion to what you're contributing, or paying in proportion to the income you bring into the house. So let's use that same scenario. Let's say, all right, again, one's making $2,000, the other's making $6,000. You're going to figure out what percentage each person brings in. So you put those together. I'm not a mathematician, so forgive me if I get this wrong. So the $2,000 income, you're going to divide that by 8,000, which is 25% of the total household income. So the person making $2,000 should be paying 25% of all the bills, which in my previous example, that was $3,700. The other person who makes the $6,000, they're going to pay 75%. And so at the end of the day, everybody is left with a little something to play around with after the fact. Everybody has something left over. It's all good. All right. So if you're making the lesser amount, that $950 is a whole lot better than $1,850 when it comes to paying bills. And then the last way that some people like to use, that I've heard in relationships, is, kind of just randomly picking things like, all right, I'll take care of the mortgage and the dates. You take care of the utilities or whatever else. I mean, if that works for you, great. But again, my favorite is the, paying in proportion of what you bring in. Another thing, one of the things my family has used, and we probably need to get back to it, is Dave Ramsey's envelope system. So what you do is you create a budget for everything. You figure out how much money you're trying to spend in each category. So you may have a nail budget, a hair budget, a grocery budget, etc. What you're going to do is figure out how much money you're trying to budget for in that category. You're going to buy some envelopes. You're going to write, if you have a haircut budget, you're going to write haircut on the envelope. If your budget for haircuts is $40 a month, you can put $40 of cash in that envelope. If you got a grocery budget, if your grocery budget is $100, you can put $100 of cash in that envelope. All right, so this will require you having envelopes and withdrawing cash from your account so you can put cash in the envelopes versus swiping your card, because if you're anything like me, swiping your card, you can lose track of what you're doing because you're not mentally aware. Okay, you know that you're paying something, but you don't know. You feel me? So, wow, it's hot out here today. Swiping your card versus pulling your little $100 out at the grocery store, it's gonna make you really, really think about throwing that extra pack of that extra box of cereal or that extra snack in your shopping cart. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, do I really need this week? So I definitely recommend using the envelope system if that's something that you want to do and you're trying to save money and you're trying to keep from overspending in certain areas. And you can pretty much decide, okay, well, if I have money left over at the end of the month or at the end of the 2 weeks or however often you budget for, then you can figure out something you want to do with that extra money. If you're always having money left over, you may want to lower the budget for that category a little bit. But you may also want to take that money and say, all right, this is going to go toward our vacation fund. So anytime you have money left over, you put it in your vacation fund, and that'll build up over time. And when you go on vacation, that could be your cash that you use for that. And the last tip, I would say, I got this from an old coworker. Shout out to Renee. If you find that you spend a lot of money at certain stores or restaurants on a regular basis, this is a good idea for you. She used to go to Starbucks every day, I think, and get her like a venti something. And everybody knows Starbucks is not cheap. So what she would do is purchase a gift card, load that gift card for the amount of money she was trying to spend, and not go over a set amount of time. And that kept her in check. That kept her from overspending at Starbucks. So that's definitely something that you could use, something you could do. But yeah, that's all I have for today. If there's anything else that you guys would like to hear me talk about, as always, please give me your feedback. If you have a question for me that you would like for me to answer or something you would like for me to discuss, hit me up, reach out. And thank you so much for all of you who support me week after week. It means a lot. And yeah, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.